And so that didn't inspire me. What inspired me was she didn't know that even though I had a job that by most people's standards, they would say you were doing well. She didn't know that even though my wife was a teacher, we were broke. And our relationship was suffering every single moment of every single day because of it. She didn't know that. But when she said, Jamil, do you know from the people you referred me, the company has paid me X, Y, and Z? I said, whoa, I didn't even know you got paid for this. I thought you were just being nice. I said, let me come over and you show me how this whole coaching thing works. And she showed me, and I said, all right, just send me my clients back, man. Just send them all back and show me how I can do this. Because she didn't know that a week before, we were talking about getting a divorce. My son was not even a year and a half at that time. And his fate, his legacy was about to be just like mine. Broken family, dad potentially not around, no generational wealth. He was going to start and go down the same path that I went down because I couldn't get my stuff together. And so what she gave me that day, and she didn't even know it, was she gave me my life back. And it might appear that you're just offering coaching. It might appear that you're just offering someone a chance to start programming. But really, what I found in over 7 years is you're offering not only that person, but like thousands of others. Isn't that crazy? There's someone who I swear to you, I know for a fact, that's sitting here right now, and in 3 years from now, there's going to be about 5,000 lives that have been impacted because you're sitting in this room. I'm never going to know them. I won't even know their names. I don't even know they're alive right now. I don't know what medications they're on. I don't know what marital problems they have. I don't know what bankruptcies they went through. I don't know what spiritual demons they're battling right now. I don't know if they're stuck in a desperate place. I don't know none of that stuff. But what I do know is from somebody being here right now, they're going to get impacted, and like thousands of real lives are going to dramatically change from tonight. I've seen it. All I do is go to different states these days. And I sit in the back and I look at the rooms and I'm amazed how all these seeds had come from one conversation, maybe 2 conversations. It's incredible. So then why did I quit? Well, I think Tara touched on it a little bit. I had some thorns that were rising up and choking me out because it started to get a little bit hard. How many of you guys, I don't know if I want to put you guys on blast like that, but I'm just going to say, how many of you guys ever started trying to lose weight and then after a day, a week, couple of weeks, you start to deviate? Anyone? Am I the only one? Why do we do that? Like, for real. Why do we do that? It's not a rhetorical question. I really want to know. Why do we do that?
It was a hard day.
Hard day.
It was a hard day, man.
Hard day. Yep, probably boss yelled at us.
Yeah.
Wife.
Oh, yeah.
Me go, hey,
I'm sitting over here.
hey, I'm staying out of that.
Because it's habits. It's like
habits.
all about our habits.
Yeah.
We haven't developed the habits yet.
I could speak 3 days straight on that, for sure. Convenience. We just, we get hungry and we run to something that's, I get it.
You don't get the results as fast as you would like.
Oh my gosh, that was me. I give it a day. Right? 24 hours, I don't lose 10 pounds, I'm out. I got high expectations, man. I used to say, you guys cheated me. Had me spend all this money. I didn't lose 10 pounds in a day. So it's hard, isn't it? So as a coach, when I decided, you talk about making decisions, when I went to Becky's house that day, and I said I was going to do this program thing, I made a decision that day. I made a decision the next day, the day after that, the day after that, the subsequent day after that, every single day, I think we misjudge this decision thing. I think most people think that this decision thing is one day. Oh no. It's going to get hard. It's going to get inconvenient. We're going to get hungry, right? Things are going to pop up. How many of you guys got kids? Don't kids bring problems all the time? Kids going to bring problems. So what do you think it's going to take every single day? A decision to recommit. So when I started coaching, it was hard. And I didn't understand the hard because when I made a decision to get myself healthier physically, I had no deviations. And so now it's time to go coach these people to where it's hard. And when they started deviating, I internalized that. And I said, it must be something I'm doing what? Wrong. There must be something wrong with who? Me. I'm not a what? Enough. Am I the only one that's ever felt like this? Something must be wrong with me. Because these people are not reaching their goals. These people are not doing what they said they wanted to do. These people aren't having the same success that I had. So that must mean there's something wrong with me. And ultimately, that must mean I'm a failure. And if you tell, if I'm a failure, if we play video games right now and I didn't win the first game, I'm quitting back then. So for sure, if I start coaching, these people, oh, Jamil, you don't understand. I don't have any energy. I'm on these medications. I'm tired of being heavy. Okay, great. Let's get started. 2 days in, I bought a whole Costco pizza. I sat in the parking lot and ate the whole thing, plus the little hot dog thing that they had. Why would you do that? I thought I told you. You read the book, didn't you? We just went over this. I know, but it was just... And so I quit. It got too hard. I wasn't good enough. Something must be wrong with me. Once again, I'm a failure. I'm not doing something right. So I left. Isn't that what most people do in life? Don't most people give up? Most people quit? Most people just, I must not be enough. And then they sit there in that state of mind forever. And they get really good with, like, she look real comfortable right here. You see that? Arm on it. They get really, really, really good with comfort. Why? I ain't got to stretch that much. I don't have to go outside this box and experience letdown, failure, defeat. So let me just sit right here, safe. I'm gonna sit right here in my safe little bubble, even though I'm not where I want to be physically. I'm just gonna sit right here because it's more comfortable than stepping outside of that bubble. For me, I was broke. I told you guys that. Marriage was failing. They just offered me a golden ticket to start coaching. I quit. I made $1,200 in 2 weeks, and I quit. Why? Because if I sit here broke, my marriage is failing, my son's going to get taken out of my house, that is more comfortable than dealing with stepping outside of this unknown. Isn't that crazy? That's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I see people do every single day for the last 7 years. It breaks my heart, but I cannot have amnesia because I did the exact same thing. Let me just sit here in my comfort. Even my comfortable, destructive conversations were more comfortable than stepping outside and setting standards, which I'll talk about. So how do we get back? Well, a month after I quit, my wife says, well, look, this isn't going very well. We went to one of those timeshare things. You guys do those? Don't do those things, man. But this time it worked because she says, I got one of those timeshare things. We have a weekend in Vegas. We should go and let's see if we can save the marriage. So we go up to Vegas and, as we're driving up I-15, we're talking about, well, what can we do to bring some more income into the household? What can we do so that we actually can start getting to a place of breathing so we can actually listen to each other. right? Have a functional conversation. We didn't even know what that was because we were so stuck in the muck and the mire that communication was so foreign. So we're driving up there, and all of my suggestions are, Amanda, what can you do? Because, of course, you're the problem, not me. Right? So who could you babysit? What second job could you get? Then all of a sudden I said, why don't you go do that coaching thing that I did? I only did it for 2 weeks, made $1,200. You could do that, supplement your income. Because she's the problem. So she says, I'll do it if you will do it with me. I didn't want to do it. I'm not the problem. I don't want to deal with those other problems called people. But I said, I'll do it with you. So we get back home. I call up my mentor, say, hey, we're back. Will you accept us back? She says, yes. And after about 7 days at most, my wife says, I don't want anything to do with this. You guys are too much. She called it a cult. She said, all you're doing is sales. She didn't want anything to do with it. So now I'm stuck there. I just proclaimed to my business coaches, to my friends, that we're about to do this thing, and now she's gone. So what do? I cried. I complained. I moaned. I did everything that I know how to do, which is blame other people. If my life isn't going well, it must be someone else's fault. And so my coach says, well, this isn't looking good. We got this conference coming up. You should go to it. I said, well, how much is it? She says, you're going to be spending about $1,000. I said, the only reason why I came back to coaching is because we don't have any money. She says, you should go. I said, I'm not going. She said, you should go. I said, I'm not going. Says, you should go. I ain't going. You should go. This went on for about 20 days. I went. And when I went, I was rocked. I had no idea what Optavia was. In fact, I decided to go so late that they put me on the floor with 4 other dudes. I didn't know the dudes at all. I took the last little money in my savings account and bought one of those DVD players. And I was like, I'm just going to watch these DVDs so I don't have to talk to these dudes. Because I thought the people were corny. And after the first night, I met Jerry. He was like 76-year-old white dude. And he was I never heard of it before, but he was a life coach. And I was like, Jerry, why are you here? And he says, well, I've had my life coaching business for 15, 20 years, and it never got off the ground until I decided to become a health coach. I was like, wow. The other dude was a firefighter, about 6'3", looked like a Hollywood movie star. I said, what are you doing here? He says, I come off of my type 2 diabetic medication. He had some trouble with his ears. He could hear again. And he had lost over 100 pounds. You would never know it from looking at him. I said, wow. I looked at the next dude. He just called me, actually, last weekend. Willie. Black dude from Florida. Looked like Mr. Universe. I said, Willie, what are you doing here, man? You're not big like I was. And he goes, well, I run I'm a personal trainer. I own a gym in Sarasota, Florida. And, I was training this woman for 3-4 years. She left my gym for like 4 months, came back. I never seen her like this before. I said, what are you doing? She said, I did some program. He said, I signed up to be a coach that day. I've never been able to give my clients those sort of results. I'm looking at these dudes, and now my vision of what this actually is expands. The other dude's a chiropractor. What you doing in here? He says, I've been working on these patients for years, man. Can never help them. I give them adjustments. They come back the next week. I give them adjustments. They come back the next week. I give them adjustments. They come back the next week. He says it never works until we get what? The weight off. He says my whole practice has changed and has exploded because of me being a coach. I said, my gosh. I said, how much money you made? He told me. Okay. The next night I go down and I start meeting all these people. They just start hugs all over the place. I wasn't used to that. We didn't do that in medical cells, right? And medical cells is dog eat dog. And it was weird to me. Like, people being human beings was strange. Isn't that weird? Why is that weird?
Not the ordinary most of the time.
Why not?
People are just out for themselves.
Yeah, and we're going to change that.
Exactly.
State by state, person by person.
For sure.
So I meet all these people. The next day, I see a panel of physicians on stage. Keep in mind, all I did was work with doctors. These physicians didn't speak like the doctors I knew. They actually talked about preventative measures instead of putting people on medication. Half of them said they left their practices to be full-time health coaches. That's when I made my decision. It's still up on YouTube from July 2012. If you scroll all the way down my YouTube. And I turned to my coach. I didn't have a ton of emotional intelligence back then. But I turned to her and I said, you just got lucky because I've decided to do this. I've gotten a lot better. You have to understand there's been a lot of growth since then. But I was serious. I've been touched. I saw in 2 days how this thing could revolutionize my life, could save my marriage, could save my son's legacy, and could completely impact my family and all these people in the world. I saw it. It didn't take 7 years. It took 2 days for me being there. And I've never been the same since. I will die before someone gets me off this mission. I've completely been rocked. And I've seen thousands of lives completely change, including, now we have 3 kids, including the 3 kids. That was a decision. That was a strong, what we call fundamental decision. That was a decision that from this moment on, I'm not going to be okay with being okay. From this moment on, my standards have completely changed. From this moment on, I walk erect. I no longer slough over. From this moment on, I will never ever say what I don't want. From this moment on, you couldn't get me to say that I'm okay with 15 pounds when I actually want to lose 40. From this moment on, I set standards in terms of the generational wealth that we're going to leave. From this moment on, the Fraser last name takes on a different meaning. From this moment on, my ceiling becomes my kid's floor. From this moment on, everyone from Long Beach, California, where I live, back up to Temple City, where I grew up, are going to change, and it is going to be because of me. From this moment on, my family is going to lose all the weight, come off of all the medications, and they'll never know what welfare feels like again. From this moment on, I'm going to walk behind this man called Dr. Anderson. I'm going to get in this inner circle, and we are going to go change the world. From this moment on, I will speak in living rooms and stages. I'll go anywhere for someone to hear this message. From this moment on, it's been 7 years. That decision is made every single day, on every single call, when I wake up, before I go to sleep, as I talk to my kids, as I teach them new philosophies. This is going to happen, and no longer am I going to settle for just being okay. No longer. Why? Because you, my friend, can do all things.
Absolutely.
But it ain't going to happen until you get your I can right.
Okay.
And so, standards. So how did we get here? You know, when I started coaching My first goal, I don't know, we're videotaping this stuff, we might hit compliance. Is this thing on live? What is this? It's on Zoom? Is anyone watching? So, you know, I talked to enough people to understand what was possible at that convention. By the way, we have another one coming up in July. I would encourage everyone to go. So my first goal was I needed to start earning. I know I was going to leave my job first and foremost. I needed to start replacing about $8,000 a month. So I went to my coaches. I said, "I'm all in. Let's go. You guys, just listen to you. Let's go." And so that happened relatively quickly. I left my job in 3 months after that event. My next goal was I need to start earning $18,000 a month. And I needed to do that for several reasons. One, we talked about making the decision. To me, what mattered most was happiness. I hadn't been happy in years at that point, not truly happy. And I wouldn't settle anymore. I needed to be happy. What came next was I needed to be stress-free. I ain't gonna go there. When you battled what I battled up to that point, stress was killing me. And even when I quit my job, I said I'd rather be poor than to be stressed like this again. So I needed to be stress-free. The third thing was I wanted to keep my son in my house. The only way that was going to happen is I need to improve this marriage. How was I going to improve the marriage? I need to start earning a lot more money. How was I going to earn a lot more money? I better go serve a lot of people. So they told me in this company, on average, when you hit what they call global director, on average, global directors earn about $18,000 a month. So from the time I left that convention, 8 months later, we hit global directors. I still wasn't happy. So at that point, I set a goal to become a millionaire. I gave myself 5 years. We didn't hit it. It took 5.5 years. But I primarily set that goal not because of the money that we would make. I primarily set that goal for who I would have to become in order to produce that type of income. That is the most important thing. You cannot, my friends, stay in that same little fishbowl and expect to have more. It ain't gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen unless you got somebody else that will do it for you. But one of the things that I learned was to take 100% personal responsibility. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen because of me. Not because my wife didn't help me. Not because the kids wouldn't go to sleep. Not because a fire got caught in the house. Not because there was a change in the presidential candidate. Not because taxes went up. Not because here in Arizona it's 118 degrees. Right? If these things are going to change, it's going to be because of me. If my health is not where I want it to be, it's going to be because it's my fault. If my business is not where I want it to be, it's my fault. If my money is not where I want it to be, guess whose fault it is? My fault. And I stopped giving away my power. You know what happens when you start blaming other people? You give away the I can do all things. Which you can. But not if we're hoping other people will do it for us. Please come save me, wife. My life is so hard. Won't you just come to the rescue? So I had to learn to get over that stuff. And so becoming, it's about the becoming. And so that was a goal of mine because I wanted to see who would I need to become in order to go from not having anything to now starting to trend towards abundance. And that becoming is the most important thing. They can take it all away right now. But I would have it back in less than 3 years. You know why? Because I became it. Everything that it took to get it, you can't take that away from me. You can take all the stuff, but you can't take who I've become. You can't take away my emotional intelligence. You can't take away my leadership. You can't take away all the philosophies I've learned. You can't take away how to work with people. You can't take away what it takes to actually start and not talk about it. You can't take away how I learned at the beginning to become extremely lean with my finances. You can't take away the philosophy of service first, that in which you give, you will receive. You can't take away any of that stuff. You can take away all the other stuff, but I would have it back because it's exactly the same. Isn't that cool? So, Sabrina, I'll talk all night, girl. You sure? So let's talk about how we impacted just thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people. You guys want to hear
Yep.
how we were able to do it? How we still do it? The first thing I talked about a little bit was you got to change your standards. I don't know. This is what's crazy to me. I used to do this. First of all, I used to do this, and only Angelina and Angelica would come from upstairs, only to eat our food. Only 2 people in it. Isn't that crazy? And now, like, all around the country, these things happen. It's kind of cool. So I don't know most of the people in here. But what I know, because I know people, is I know your expectations are far too low. Most people don't live with an abundance mindset. I certainly didn't. I was fine with whatever came my way. I didn't expect much. You know what the worst thing about not expecting much is, again, you don't have to become much. You will be the same person today as you will be a year from now. What living organism is cool with being exactly the same today as they are 365 days from now? Let me ask you just an interesting question. How tall will a tree grow? As tall as it can. But human beings are interesting. A human being has so low of expectations, they will literally become okay with being exactly the same today as they are next year, as they are the year after that, and as they are the year after that. And they become extremely comfortable with it. It's mind-boggling. But this is what I did. This is what most people did. I was okay when my job only gave me a $5,000 raise per year. I was rejoicing. Isn't that crazy? I was okay when I was 218 pounds. The year after that, I didn't go up that much. I only went 220. Year after that, I kind of maintained 219. I became okay. Our expectations are so low, and I'll talk about in a minute why this is a detriment to our world, especially if we want to make an impact. If we do not start to move and grow and have an abundance mindset, not only is it crippling you, but it's crippling people that are around you. And so I needed to change my expectations. I started to learn that I was in this little fishbowl. And the smaller that bowl is, that's as much as I'm going to grow. And if I get a little bit of a bigger bowl, then I'll grow to match the size of that bowl. If you give me a little pond, then I'll grow as big as I can in that pond. If you put me in the ocean, then I'll grow a little bit bigger. I have to learn to start expecting more for myself. My son and I have philosophies. We call them the Fraser philosophies. They're like the 10 Commandments. One of them is we do more than what's expected. If Ezra came, I promise you, if Ezra came here right now and you said do 10 push-ups, he would do at least 11. He's 8. This stuff's been pumped into him since he was a year and a half. Why would he do more? Because he can. Why would you do... How many of you guys want to help more people? How many of you guys want to make more of an impact? How many of you guys would like to earn more money? How many of you guys would like to give more? If that's what you want to do, guess what you're going to have to raise? Your expectations. Why? Because if you have the same expectations today as you did a year ago, you ain't going to have to grow. And if you don't have to grow, you're not going to impact more people. If you don't impact more people, you're probably not going to earn more money. That's just how it is in this country. So we need to raise our expectations. I needed to start changing what I asked for. When I started coaching, I didn't ask for much. Thus, I didn't get much. Now I start asking more for myself. Now I start asking more for my clients. Now I start asking more for my coaches. Before, I had no expectations for a client to send me a referral. I never asked for it. If you ask, you shall. Oh, we know it. We recite it. We say, come on. We know these things, right? Why didn't I do it? Good question, isn't it? My expectations were off. Fear had crippled me too much. I become too okay with being okay. So I need to start changing my ask. When you became my client, my ask was, you're going to start losing weight, and I expect that people around you are going to start noticing, and I would love to amaze them with my coaching and my service. The next week, same thing. Did you lose some weight? Yes. I expect that some people around you have noticed, yes? I would like to have the opportunity to amaze them with my coaching. I started to change my ask. As I'm doing health assessments, instead of saying, would you like to start this program? I said, great. Sounds like you're going to start this program, but what other 4 people are going to get started with you? I literally changed my expectations. And because I changed it, guess what started to show up? As you think, so shall you. Oh, we know it. But we don't do it. So I started to change my expectations. I started to realize that before I had lost courage once they gave me a $72,000 base salary. Because I got okay. I thought that was good. Do you know we earn more than that in a month? And I was okay that was per year. I started to change my expectations. Everyone in this room could do far more than what you're doing right now. But it's not going to happen unless you start changing your ask, your expectations, your mindset. I told you, when I left that event, I was never the same. I got on a conference call with the same family members that 7 years later are seeing what I saw 7 years ago. I got them all on. I said, hey, let's hop on. I just saw something crazy. It's going to revolutionize our family. 12 people got on. Guess how many got started? Guess how many actually understood what I was saying? Guess how many was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be crazy? Guess how many actually like was ready to take the leap? None. My mom's on the call. My same cousin Jermon's on the call. Reached out to me a week ago. 7 years ago. Isn't that amazing? Change your expectations. I have to be relentless about telling my story. How many of you guys are coaches right now? How many of you guys raise your hand? Keep them up high. This is, even that is a weak hand raise. How many of you guys right now that kept your hand up when I asked you if you wanted more of all those other things? Right? And we got a lot of people in here, yes? Okay, how many of you guys are relentless about telling your story? Listen to me. If we meet people, if we see people out in the marketplace and they know you and they don't know what your story is, what you do, and how you can impact other people, you are not being relentless about telling your story. I said, everyone that I know and that I come into contact with are going to know me and going to know my story and going to know that I can help someone that they know. Every single person. Do you know how I meet people? I don't even know them. I was on Facebook Live earlier and a woman, Stacy, got on. I saw her at Disneyland. She stopped me and my family, me and my wife, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe like your story's so amazing." I was like, "I don't know you." Isn't that cool? We were up in Solvang. Stop through. Kids love it, right? We're sitting at lunch, and I feel this woman just staring at me on the right-hand side. And finally, she mustered up enough courage. She came over, and she goes, "Hey, I just want to introduce myself. I've seen you on YouTube and Facebook Lives and stuff. I love your story. I love how your family's together." It's like, I don't even know you. When you're relentless about and in pursuit that every single person that I meet will know my story, it is amazing how the world starts opening up for you. Do you know more people, they're more alike than they are different? I mean, how many of you guys have been through struggles? Okay, so you start telling your story and you tell it with excellence and you tell it to enough people and you encourage them to go tell somebody else your story. How many of you guys work full-time jobs? Okay. How often does a coworker complain about not being where they want to be physically, mentally, emotionally, or financially to you? Is that daily? Every hour. Why don't these people know your story? Right? So I made a commitment that all these people I know are going to know my story, and I'm going to tell it well enough so when they go to work or when they go to church or when they go to family reunion, all these complainers in their life start complaining. I want them to say, "I don't know what Jamil's doing, but that sounds like something he can take care of." Relentless about telling my story. If someone knows me and they don't know what to do, guess whose fault it is? Mine. Because I wasn't relentless about telling my story. You got to know what I do and how I can bring a solution to people's problems. I want to walk around every single day being a solution to people's problems. You're having marital problems? Call Jamil. You're having financial problems? Call Jamil. Oh, you need to get off some medications? Call Jamil. You need to lose some weight? Call Jamil. You're still stressed out? Call Jamil. You don't know how to manage your emotions? Call Jamil. You don't sleep well? Call Jamil. You don't know how to deal with your kids? Call Jamil. I want to be a solution to everybody's problem. Relentless in a pursuit. Every single person that I know, and I would encourage that you know, they've got to know your story. If you're not telling your story, listen to me. Look at the people. If I had not shared my story, there would be at least 60,000 people whose lives would not be impacted. There are real people on the other side of your decision not to share your story, or on your path, yours only, not mine. Like all these people weren't on the path of my coaches. They were on Jamil's path, right? And then sprinkled amongst all these other coaches. There are real consequences to not sharing your story. Be relentless. Have a this too shall pass philosophy, and be thankful for challenges. I didn't understand before I went to that event that my problems were actually blessings. I didn't get it. I thought that when I had a problem, that was an excuse to go complain to other people, to wish that it was easier, to hope that these things never happen. What I needed to understand, but these were the very things that needed to show up in my life in order for me to become that in which I was destined to be. And it's still that way. So when I said, "Have you had any problems?" I would say, be so grateful for that. Whatever those challenges were, and we've had some real serious challenges in this room. Whatever that is intended for you, just as for me, to become more, so that we can do more, we can give more, we can serve more, we can impact more, we can earn more. All of those things, even as much and as sucky as they look, those things are blessings. But I didn't know that before. And so what I needed to start doing was saying, okay, how can I now take these things and take them off my back that's been weighing me down, anchoring me down, right? Got me in bondage, got me in these chains. How can I take them off my back and now put them in my heart? And now use this as a means to go connect. And to connect in a way, and to fall in love with people's stories and issues in a way that they've never seen before. Because when you take those things and you can become so authentic with it, I don't even have to tell you anything. Just from my look and my stare, and I stare, you know that I know that you know that I know that you know
I do know.
that I know. When you can start doing that with people, this is how you revolutionize people, and people make up the marketplace, and the marketplace makes up business.
Absolutely.
That's how I said they could take all of it away, all the stuff, but this will always be true. It doesn't matter. So she talked about managing your disappointment and your discipline. Have to learn how to do that. Why did I quit after 2 weeks? I didn't know how to do that. So I had to start learning that it's a blessing. Listen, if I want to do more, I got to become more. How can I become more if there's never any issues? So I would start saying, to whom much is given, much is
Required.
We know it, but do we know it? And I would start saying, this too shall pass. I had to walk around with a this shall too pass philosophy. Be intentional. Before, I was never really that intentional in my life. I would just get up and I would just do things. I said, no more of that. So everything I do is for a reason. Everything I do is going to be in direct relation to that in which I want to create. What do I want to create? Happiness. What do I want to create? A stress-free life. What do I want to create? My son staying in my house. What do I want to create at the beginning? $18,000 a month. Great. So every single thing that I do, even conversations that I start, even people I invite out to coffee, even hikes that I plan, everything that I do falls in line with what I'm going to create. If it don't fall in line with this, guess what I'm not going to do? What I'm not going to do is wake up and get on Facebook and just scroll. And scroll. And scroll. What's Johnny doing today? What's Tammy doing today? What's my pastor doing today? Why? That ain't in line with getting me up here. What is in line with getting me up here? Using a list. Soon as I wake up, do I know who I'm going to start conversations with? Soon as I wake up, do I know what before and after picture I'm going to post? Soon as I wake up, do I know what healthy happy hour I'm going to commence? Soon as I wake up, do I know what hike I'm going to start? Soon as I wake up, I'm intentional. And even down to play dates. What streets I'm going to walk my son down. Because I might see Miss Johnson out there today. Everything comes with intentionality. Even I made a decision that the last couple weeks, months, my wardrobe has gotten a little bit better. For years, it wasn't. That was intentional. Everything. What I'm going to do with my money. Everything. There's no stone left unturned. What people do is they get up and they let the day take over them instead of them taking over the day. They come home and they see how much Game of Thrones we can watch. Am I lying? What? Yeah. Is it going to help me keep my son in my house? Is it going to make me happy? Is it going to create a stress-free life? Is it going to earn me $18,000 a month? Is it going to buy my freedom? If that answer is no, guess what does not go down on that list that day? Guess what doesn't? We are creators. We are part of a creator. Do you know you can create whatever it is that you want? It ain't going to happen if you fill this thing up with things that don't serve what you want to create. And so every single day, friends would get upset. You're not going to come out with us? Nah, bro. Not tonight. Because I have not finished my list. My list is what's going to get me here. We want to impact our family? Be intentional. So have a strategy with everything. I just started learning to practice my mindset. Anybody falling asleep yet? I'm going to speed this thing up. This one probably is one of the most important. Things are going to come up and thoughts are going to come up that don't serve you all the time. We do a really good job of creating stories that are not true. All the time. Someone ever cut you off on the freeway or on the street? What story did you create? Huh? Right. I know they saw me here. Why they just cut me off? Right? We do this.
He's an idiot.
Huh? He's an idiot.
He's an idiot.
Man. So once you get into the world of coaching, you got all sorts of time to create stories that are non-serving. You reach out to someone, they don't get back to you, what story do you create? They don't sign up right away, you talk to them, you spend 25 minutes, what story do you create? Your coach gets started, they said that they were going to change the world. After a week, they're not there. What story do you create? Your kid talks back to you. What story do you create? Your wife didn't wash the dishes like she said she would do. What story do you create? This is what we do all day long. We create stories that, one, aren't true, two, don't serve us. Are those stories going to get us to what we want to actually create in this life? And the answer is most of the time, no. But we don't even realize that we do it. I certainly didn't. So I needed to start exercising my mindset. I need to start talking to myself more than I talk to other people. I need to start saying, is this thought serving me? I just thought about it that way. But is this thought actually serving me? Well, Jamil, how do you know if it's serving you? Is it making you happy? Is it helping you create a stress-free life? Is it helping you create a valuable marriage? Is this going to keep your son in your house? Is this going to allow you to earn $18,000 a month? No. So what do you think you should do? I should change it. What should you change it to? A thought that actually serves you. This is a practice. This took like 2.5, 3 years to do. So that's one of the ways. We talked about practice. Everything that it takes to do anything extraordinary comes down to practicing. If you want to be a better speaker, guess what you should do? Practice. If you want to have more people sign up when you do a health assessment, guess what you should do? Practice. If you're a baseball player and you want to hit the ball better, guess what you should do? Practice. If you want to have a higher free throw percentage, guess what you should do? Practice. If you want to get better with your skills with acquiring more clients, guess what you should do? Practice. If you want to get better with building a stronger relationship with your spouse, guess what these little things we ought to be doing? Practicing. Leaving love notes. Little messages on the mirror. Right? All these things. Practice. So I need to learn, well, look, if you want to get really good at this, you don't need your coach to be sitting by your side all day long. Guess what you need to go do? Practice. Do I need an army of people behind me for me to sit in the mirror and practice a health assessment? Do I need that? I don't need to have my coaches, Karen and Kim, breathing life into me every day for me to practice on how to ask deeper questions, for me to practice on how to listen better, for me to offer a better invitation, for me to actually learn how to talk about Christ. Do I need all these people to be with me? Or are these things that I can actually do on my own in front of a mirror? Practice. We talked about the sower and the seed. What's interesting is we all sort of know this. What we don't know is, why was that sower more ambitious than anyone else? Because that ambition is what causes that sower to go out and keep sowing that seed, where most people won't actually practice. So when I left that convention, I said, from this moment on, I'm willing to be ambitious enough to practice even when other people are sleeping. Amanda, my wife, would wake up and say, why are you still awake? I'm practicing. You go on and rest. I know you're not really at a point to where you want to support me in this new venture of mine. We're approaching 24 months, but that's okay. I'm going to keep practicing because I made a what? Decision. Was my decision just in July of 2012? Or was it still in July of 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, this year? 2029, it'll still be the same. 2059, if I'm still alive, it'll still be the same. Because I made a decision. You got to practice. Okay. I needed to learn to get lean in my finances. I was not a great steward with my money, with our money, with any money. And so I need to start understanding that there's certain things that I need and there's certain things that I don't need. And if I'm looking up at what I want to create, then these things have got to get shored up. I can no longer spend everything that I earn. I got to start having a different philosophy about money. The first thing that I did was said that anything that I earn, anything, at least 10% of that gets paid to me first. That's a non-negotiable. Before it gets paid to anyone else, it belongs to me. And at least 10% is going to go to investing, and we're going to give at least 10% away every single month. Well, I didn't earn that much at the beginning. This was a philosophy that we still have today. So what does this mean? This means I need to start living in about 60 to 70% of what we earn. Guess what's got to go? Cable's got to go, and it went. TV's got to go, they went. CDs got to go, they went. Eating out with buddies got to go, that went. Buying new clothes. This is the first year that I have consciously bought new clothes, for fun and not for an event. This is the first year that this has happened since 2012. That stuff has got to go. Why? Because I'm living for more than just me now. Everything is about legacy. Didn't we see legacy up here? So I can't just keep having the same spending tendencies that got me to the place where I was before. I need to now start just not living for the comfort of Jamil and Amanda and their little family, but now I got to start living for something that's far bigger than me. It's going to last 4, 5, 6 generations. This is called an abundance mindset. Without it, you are and I am a detriment to the society. Because more people will not get touched if we just live in our little fishbowl. And so I needed to set a decision to get lean in my finances. This was the end of last year was the first time we really have started buying anything. Even though I could have at least 4 years ago, but we didn't. a decision was made, a hierarchy of wants. We got to shore up those finances. A couple more. How do you build something extraordinary, especially, well, really with anything, is you have to find your 12. What do I mean by that? Well, this is a subject I could talk about for at least 3 straight days. When I started coaching, my focus was off. Because this is what I was used to doing. I was used to really only trading my time for money. That's what I was used to doing. I was used to going to work and making an impact in this little space called work. And if I was there for 8 hours, they would give me 8 hours of value back, called compensation. When I started coaching, the first thing that I did was build up a very large client base. And then I started to realize that I'm getting exhausted. And all I'm doing is, again, trading my time for money. Now, everyone in this room raise your hand when I said, do you want to help more people? Everyone in this room raise your hand when I said, do you want to serve more people? Do you want to give more? Do you want to honor more? Do you want to earn more? And yet, I was still working in such a myopic way of only supporting clients. How do you go out there and really make an impact in the marketplace? You don't actually do it yourself. So I need to start learning. I got to start sponsoring coaches with a desperation that only we have seen from Paul himself. It is my destiny to bring on as many coaches as possible. Why? Because I would like to help more people. I would like to earn more. I would like to eventually give more. I would like to be happy. I would like to live a stress-free life. I would like to keep my son in my house. And I would like to start earning $18,000 a month. That's not going to happen because you can only make a certain amount of an impact out there with one person. It's just one person, only 24 hours in a day. But if I take 200 people that also have 24 hours in a day, guess how many lives you can impact? So in this business, I need to start learning to find my 12. What does that mean? That means that if you want to go and spread a good word to a lot of people, even the great man himself didn't do it on his own. He found 12 other dudes, minus one because he was questionable. And now look what's happened centuries later. So if you want to go impact a lot of lives, doesn't make sense to try to do it by yourself and be a hero. Or it doesn't make sense to go find a whole bunch of people that believe what you believe, that see what you see, that are on the same mission as you are, that want to go and impact other lives. Why would you keep trying to do it on your own? It doesn't make sense. That is not how you impact a marketplace. And yet, that's what I did, and that's what most people continue to do. It makes no sense. This is why I can never go back and work a full-time job. Why? I'm not going to be able to influence enough people. Why would I do that? To where I can go and find 12 other just superstars that believe what I believe and want to do what I want to do and go make a difference. A big time difference, not a little time difference. We all said we wanted more of all those things, right? If you truly want that, my suggestion is to go build a unique team of 12. Go build 12 integrated presidential directors. I guarantee you there will be so many lives that will be impacted, your head will spin. And I guarantee you that you will now start living in abundance. And when you get out of your own way and stop worrying about you, guess how much you can give? Guess how much? Guess how much? A lot. But what do most people do? Well, I'm good. My life is good. I'm taking care of my kids. Selfish. I started learning that I was walking around every single day being selfish. I have the unique ability to do much more than what I'm doing now, and I'm only looking out for me. That's called selfishness. Because I don't want to operate in abundance. You find 12 people, I guarantee you won't have to worry about those things. Just won't. So find your 12. Last thing I need to start realizing, and this was the biggest thing for me, is my dream really my dream? And I had to take a trip to Peru last year, took a little pilgrimage, and I went to go find myself. And I left for about a month, which was neat about that, by the way. If you find 12, if you leave and you come back, then in terms of our impact, it was up 15%, even though I left. It's kind of cool, isn't it? It's called freedom. It's what I've been chasing. Cannot do normal things. So while I was there, I needed to start understanding and figuring out, is my dream, and was my dream really my dream? Think about it. When you are a kid, even moving into an adult, is the things that you want to do and the things you become actually what you want to do? Or is it what your parents wanted you to do? Or society wanted you to do? Or your pastor wanted you to do? Or your school teacher? Or your spouse? So I need to start understanding, is the things that I want to do and the limits I set forth on myself actually what I want to do? Or has that been given to me? And I start to realize that a lot of my standards and a lot of my initial dreams were not actually what I wanted to do. It was what other people wanted from me. And I need to get very, very clear on what does Jamil want and what's the impact and the legacy he wants to leave. And once we figured that out, again, another key decision was made, which is I'm going full throttle, and no longer do I care whatsoever what someone else thinks, because I am only looking for people who are looking for me. And I'm no longer concerned with what other people, what their agendas are, because I'm so crystal clear in what mine is. So, that's how we've gotten here. So I hope that was helpful. Sabrina, when we bring you back up, since this is your house.
Well, so what did you guys think?
Amazing.